Hey, in this video, we're talking about citations, why they're so important, what they are, how they can quickly help you rank, what trust is and authority is. And first off, a citation is not something bad. It's not, something like this where you're, getting a ticket from a police officer or something. It's also not like in college or high school or middle school, or whenever we used to write papers, right? We'd have to write the papers and then put the cite our sources at the end of the paper, right? It's not that, and it's also not like getting cited by, I don't know, like a camera or something for running a red light or going too fast on the interstate or something like that. But citations are literally just your business's name, address, and phone number listed somewhere on the internet. As long as it's mentioned somewhere online, it doesn't matter if it has a link back to your website, it's still a citation. See, Google uses these when they evaluate the authority of your business. And what I mean by authority of your business is like how much priority are they going to give you in Google Maps. The more citations you have, the more places your business's name, address, and phone number is listed out there on the internet, the more credible you are as a business. So it doesn't matter if it's a directory or a Web 2.0 site or somebody else's website or Facebook, as long as it's your business name, address, and phone number accurately listed somewhere on the internet, that counts as a citation. And we'll get to Web 2.0s later in section 4, so I'm not even going to define that right now. So a partial citation is when just like maybe your phone number and your name, or your name, your business name and your address is there, but not all three. It's just partial. It's not the full name, address, phone number. It's good and it's better than nothing, but it's not as beneficial as the full citation, the complete business name, address, and phone number. And then we also have unstructured citations, which will make more sense in just a second, but an unstructured citation is having your name, address, and phone number on somewhere that's not an official directory, like a Web 2.0 site or Facebook or somebody else's website or a press release, for instance. That would be an unstructured citation because there are some websites that serve as directories for businesses, and that would be like an official, a structured citation, whereas there are other places just in general out there, you put your name, address, phone number in the description of your YouTube video, that would be an unstructured citation. You have it in a press release, that's an unstructured citation. And they're all good, but the structured citations, the actual official directories, they carry more weight, they carry more quality, they carry more trust levels, because they've been around for a long time. Google knows what they provide, it knows what they do. So basically you want as many as you can, and I'll explain why in just a second. Now, for a citation to help in your Google Maps ranking strategy, your Google Maps priority visibility strategy, it has to be accurate. It has to exactly match the name, address, and phone number on your Google business profile, your Google Maps page. So whatever format you choose for your citation, whatever format you choose for your name, address, phone number on your Google Maps, say you've got street spelled out, STREET, on Google Maps, and then on, say, your website, it's ST. Well, that's no good. It needs to be spelled out, STREET, on every single citation across the internet. If you use parentheses around the area code in your phone number and you in one place and you don't in another place, that is going to cause inaccuracies. It's going to confuse and scramble the AI. It's going to scramble the signal that you send Google's AI. So it's little consistencies like that. In some places where it's street is abbreviated, in other places it's spelled out, or you use suite in some places and unit in others, or a pound sign in others. Phone number with parentheses in some place and without in other places. All of these can cause issues. And it's these types of inconsistencies that leads to confusion, like I just said, for Google's AI, and takes away the trust level because it's a scrambled signal, because Google's AI doesn't know what to make of it, doesn't know what to quote unquote believe. But if it were completely accurate, if all of your citations everywhere were completely accurate on the level, you could have gained so much more trust by having them all succinct across the entire internet. And so what exactly do I mean by trust? Trust is like legitimacy. Trust is like Google's AI knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that your business is where it says it is and is what it says it is. It's exactly at this address. It's exactly has this phone number. And for instance, as Moz.com puts it, Google's AI is looking for a broad and accurate representation of your business around the web on quality platforms. And this increases your chances of ranking well in the local search engine results pages for important terms. So you need a broad base of citations. Broad equals the more the better, and the more variety the better. So 500 is better than 200. And having them on directories that anybody can get is good, but also having them on industry directories, and also for variety's sake, and also having them on like very local specific, like newspapers in your city, those sorts of directories, that would make it even more powerful. Hyper local is what some people call it. So Google's AI is looking, right? Will it see that you have a broad base of citations? So citations are a primary factor that Google uses when they decide on which order to rank a business, especially within the Maps pack. And from my experience, based on doing this dozens of times, when you just max out your citations, you remember how I talked earlier about the digital popularity or the machine popularity and the human popularity. When we max out our citations, the machine popularity just goes way up. Because if you have 600, 700 citations online and all of your competition have maybe 200, 300, some have less than that, most have less than that, what's going to happen is that there are just going to be more sources on the internet that are essentially vouching for your business, and Google sees that. And when you're in more sources, with a more variety of sources, we see increases in ranking order when we do this. Okay, so it's a very, very fast way. If you do it, if you hire somebody to do it, it's a very fast way to gain ground in Google Maps. I mean, to Google's AI, it's logical that a business that is mentioned a lot online deserves a higher ranking over one that maybe is hardly mentioned at all, right? So here's the other part of the equation, right? Broad and accurate. Google's AI is looking, will it see accurate? For instance, maybe a business has changed their phone number, or maybe that business has moved and their address is now different. They had an old address, here's their new address. Now they would have to change that address on all those hundreds of directories, all those hundreds of sources, citation sources. So that means that that business has places on the internet where they've got inaccurate information, and Google sees all of this. So this business may have a couple of hundred citations across the internet, right? They moved to a new location, and if their addresses aren't matching in all of those couple hundred citations across the internet, then that is an issue because it's conflicting. You don't want to have conflicting data going to Google's AI. That's the standard, that's the mediocre thing to do, right? It scrambles the signal, so you're just more noise in the noise. Your signal's scrambled, and you're losing trust with Google when that happens. So how does all this information get out there? Why are we making such a big deal about this? Now, as Moz says, there's another reason, and that's to be visible on the platforms that your consumer base uses so that they can find accurate information about your company and connect with it. And that's true to an extent, but again, if we're following the 80-20 rule, we already know that Google is the internet, basically, and that the vast majority of people use Google to search for local businesses. Now, they do use other platforms, absolutely, indeed. But, we want the lion's share. We want the bulk of it. So basically, this getting all possible citations does two things. It signals to Google's AI very clearly, very logically, that you deserve to be ordered higher in the rank because so many places are talking about you online. And it also puts your business information on a bunch of other sites that people also use aside from just Google. So you can be found in more places, and you're telling Google in a logical, clear way that you deserve a higher rank in the order. All right, so how all this information gets out there are two ways. One is basically creating an account and a listing on each and every directory, or basically anywhere you can. And we've compiled a list for you. Here's the list that you get. You can download this. I will just scroll down here real quick. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things. So you can just go here manually, click in, create an account, write out your name, address, phone number, upload any pictures that you want, if you have any, upload any other, answer any other questions they have. But you would have to do this 624 times. And sometimes, like, this is always, a lot of these are changing. Some of these will pop up and then they'll go away. And so we can't always guarantee 624, but we can definitely guarantee 500. There are some tried and true that have been around for decades. And then we also have these lists of industries down here. And so, say if you were in landscaping, you would come here and get basically a listing, get a citation on each of these, or if you're a jewelry place, get a listing on each of these. If locksmith, get a listing on each of these. So you would have to do this manually. You would have to hire somebody to do this manually, and it is tedious. That's why we got this frustrated guy here. It's freaking tedious. I've done this. When I started in 2014, I went through this and did all of this. I started to do it myself. I got through maybe like 20 in a couple of days, and I was like, nope, I'm paying somebody to do this. Screw that. So if you see this, like Apple Maps, we're going to talk about that, and Yelp in the next video. That's actually a premium citation source, and you definitely want to be there. That is a very high quality source for your Google Maps rank order. So that's one way. And then there are aggregators. Four major aggregators are Factual, Axiom, Infogroup, and Localese. And what these companies do is they control data across the entire web. They supply information to major search engines like Google and Bing and Apple, which means that having a good business listing on these aggregators can help get it right in Google, because all the directories also get information from these four data aggregators. So it's not just the main directory sites that we imagine, like Yellow Pages and WorldBook and Merchant Circle. There are literally hundreds of them who will just go to these data aggregators and grab data from these four aggregators in order to have more content on their own site. So if you've got an inaccurate information being grabbed, like street versus ST or suite versus unit, and if you have that inaccurate information being grabbed because of the inconsistencies found in your hundreds of listings, or maybe you have dozens of listings online, you may only have a couple of errors. But once they get grabbed by these aggregators, now it's spread like gremlins across the internet. So you can kind of begin to see how one little error copied across hundreds of locations leads to this loss of trust. And it's a loss of trust because Google is confused, because you're scrambling the signal. Like, where is this business actually located? What is actually their phone number? So it just needs to be accurate and understood and logical for the AI. So in the next couple of videos, I'm going to show you where you can go to have these citations done for you, because that's a much better use of our time than doing it ourselves, but also how many you need to have done. And this is the maximize method, so I can just say get the maximum amount, and how many is required in order to be the dominant business in your industry. How many citations it's going to take for you to be shown to Google as the authority in your niche. So like if your competitor has 150 citations, then you're going to need more than that. So I'm going to show you how to find out how many your competitor has so you can outdo them.